The AI world is entering dangerous territory. Investors sense turbulence building beneath rising optimism. People whisper about cracks forming under progress. Everyone feels something enormous shifting quietly today. But few understand how deep this truly goes. We might be standing inside a growing bubble. Massive money floods into artificial intelligence daily. Companies race to build colossal data centers. Billions move like lightning across global markets. Every chart shows exponential acceleration without pause. But acceleration often carries hidden structural fragility. And fragility becomes catastrophic when excitement blinds judgment. Yet the story begins with something simpler. A single question emerging across financial circles. Are we witnessing an unstoppable revolution or illusion? Is this incredible growth sustainable long-term? Or are we living inside inflated expectations? To answer, we must understand bubbles carefully. Bubbles form when excitement outpaces real value. Prices rise faster than fundamentals can justify. Speculation becomes fuel instead of meaningful progress. Investors start buying dreams instead of reality. Eventually, pressure grows until something finally collapses. However, not all bubbles behave identically. Some bubbles create devastation when they burst. Others burst gently because timing was wrong. Infrastructure bubbles often fall into second category. Massive build-outs occur before actual demand materializes. The investment seems excessive until future adoption arrives. This same question surrounds artificial intelligence today. Is AI building critical infrastructure too quickly? Or is current demand signaling unstoppable transformation? To understand, we must examine the numbers. Spending in AI is reaching historic proportions. Tech giants invest like nothing seen before. Every quarter breaks another unbelievable financial record. Data centers expand faster than cities sometimes. Chip manufacturers operate beyond maximum production capacity. The world can barely keep up anymore. Demand appears unbelievably strong from consumers everywhere. Millions rely on AI tools daily now. The technology moves far beyond casual experimentation. For many, it is daily essential infrastructure. Entire workflows run on AI-powered automation today. This surge changes how humans interact with knowledge. But consumer demand tells only half story. Enterprise adoption moves slower, but still grows rapidly. Businesses experiment cautiously before implementing transformative changes. Security concerns slow rollout across traditional corporate sectors. Many organizations still explore foundational use cases today. Yet, desire for automation continues rising every month. These two layers form the demand engine. One is personal reliance from everyday individuals. The second is systematic reliance across global companies. Together, they create immense pressure for infrastructure. This pressure fuels global spending at unbelievable scale. And spending itself shapes the next technological chapter. But here's where uncertainty quietly enters conversation. Mass adoption emerges quickly, yet expectations grow faster. Companies invest billions before full value appears. Investors fear growth may outrun realistic returns. Markets become volatile when timing becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability always invites fear of collapse. Still, we must face a deeper truth. Artificial intelligence already changed how humanity operates. This isn't hype built from empty speculation. AI delivers tangible, measurable value right now. People produce faster and think clearer with assistance. Entire industries shift direction because of new capabilities. Yet every revolution attracts waves of speculation. Speculation magnifies narratives beyond grounded evidence. Investors chase futures they barely understand yet. This creates tension between reality and expectation. Tension becomes dangerous when stakes become astronomical. And today, the stakes are unprecedented globally. Artificial intelligence is now the world's centerpiece. It influences markets, governments, education, medicine, everything. Every industry feels pressure to integrate immediately. Fear of falling behind drives reckless acceleration, and reckless acceleration often fuels unstable bubbles. So the question remains intensely relevant today. Are we witnessing sustainable transformation or fragile hype? Is AI the next internet-level revolution, or is it expanding faster than practical value? These questions will determine the future economic landscape, and the answers may shock every single investor. The real shock emerges when studying investments closely. Infrastructure spending has reached unimaginable historic levels. Tech giants are building at impossible speeds. They pour billions into chips and power. Data centers grow like futuristic industrial cities. Nothing in history compares to this scale. Reports show spending rising dramatically each year. Some forecasts predict trillion-dollar infrastructure demand soon. These numbers would terrify any seasoned economist normally. But AI momentum pushes fear aside temporarily. Everyone believes disruption will outweigh financial risks. Hope becomes fuel for this explosive expansion. Yet demand is the fragile centerpiece here. If demand weakens, everything collapses instantly. If demand strengthens, infrastructure becomes justified easily. So analysts study usage patterns with microscopic precision. They try understanding who actually needs AI and whether this need will sustain long-term. Consumer demand appears unbelievably strong today. AI assistants integrate into daily human routines. Millions use them for writing and research. Millions rely on them for creativity enhancement. Millions trust them with complex personal decisions. AI is becoming a quiet digital companion. Metrics reveal stunning user growth across platforms. Each year multiplies adoption rates dramatically worldwide. This isn't hype from curious casual experimenters. This is persistent usage embedded inside real life. That alone stabilizes a massive portion already. But enterprise adoption remains the mysterious side. Businesses approach transformation slowly and methodically. They test AI systems through long, cautious pilots. They examine security risks and workflow compatibility. They measure value using strict internal performance standards. Most organizations haven't scaled operations using AI yet, but early results indicate enormous potential everywhere. Some companies reduce operational costs dramatically already. Others accelerate product development through automated reasoning. Some improve customer satisfaction using personalized interactions. Others streamline entire departments using intelligent automation. These gains seem modest individually, but massive collectively. And this collective value fuels bullish industry confidence. However, adoption speed still lags behind infrastructure growth. This mismatch introduces dangerous economic instability concerns. If enterprises adopt slower than expected worldwide, infrastructure spending could outrun actual monetization return. This imbalance creates conditions for potential bubble expansion. But history shows such imbalances aren't always disastrous. During the early Internet era, timing misaligned disastrously. Infrastructure outpaced real user demand significantly then. Investors believed immediate adoption would occur everywhere. But reality moved slower than predicted across industries. Yet that infrastructure later enabled global digital transformation. The bubble burst, but humanity gained immeasurably afterward. Many experts believe AI resembles similar patterns. A wave of overbuilding could occur temporarily. However, long-term demand may justify everything eventually. If AI becomes universal infrastructure like electricity, today's investments may look incredibly small tomorrow. The question is timing, not eventual outcome. But timing creates winners or catastrophic losers. Early investors may gain unimaginable wealth quickly. Late investors may collapse under unsustainable expectations. Companies must navigate this balancing act with caution. Yet fear rarely slows momentum once revolution begins. And artificial intelligence is unquestionably a revolution. Still, cracks are visible beneath the excitement. Power limitations already impact data center expansion. Energy shortages create bottlenecks, slowing infrastructure deployment. Some companies possess chips they can't activate yet. Lack of electricity becomes a fundamental growth barrier. This barrier reveals hidden fragility inside AI's foundation. Chip supply chains also strain under extreme pressure. Manufacturers push beyond safe capacity limits globally. Any disruption could trigger catastrophic price volatility instantly. These constraints add uncertainty to long-term planning, and uncertainty is the enemy of sustainable growth. Yet investors keep pouring money with astonishing confidence. They believe AI's potential outweighs every current risk. They believe value will outrun operational limitations. They believe long-term adoption will justify everything later. This collective belief fuels today's accelerating investment surge. But belief becomes dangerous when untested by reality. We stand at a critical global crossroads now. The world must decide whether optimism is justified. Every metric shows momentum beyond normal expectations. Every indicator points toward extraordinary technological transformation. But even extraordinary revolutions can form fragile bubbles. And this bubble might become history's most fascinating test. The pressure on global markets keeps climbing. AI is now the world's loudest obsession. Every headline fuels excitement and rising expectations. Companies scramble to secure their future positions. The race feels like a modern technological gold rush. Yet, gold rushes often hide silent ticking risks. Tech giants dominate conversation with staggering numbers. Their growth charts look unreal to many watchers. These companies shape economic momentum like digital empires. Without them, several markets would collapse immediately. This creates an unusually dangerous concentration of power. And concentrated power magnifies every potential downturn dramatically. Reports highlight shocking dependence on 7 corporations. These giants carry enormous weight behind global GDP. Their valuation growth distorts broader market interpretations. Analysts fear this imbalance creates systemic vulnerability. One shock could ripple catastrophically across economies. Such scenarios make investors extremely cautious right now. But cautious investors rarely stop revolutionary momentum. Artificial intelligence evolves faster than anyone predicted. New models appear with breathtaking capabilities continually. Each breakthrough triggers another wave of investor enthusiasm. Everyone believes transformative value will soon explode universally. This belief drives unprecedented corporate strategic decisions. Yet even the smartest investors sometimes disagree violently. Some hedge fund leaders are sounding alarms urgently. They warn valuations are drifting beyond rational boundaries. They argue companies extend asset lifetimes artificially now. This creates profit illusions disconnected from real stability. Such illusions can quietly inflate bubbles without detection. Other investors take opposite approaches entirely. They shift money from hardware into intelligence. They bet future value lies in software layers. They believe AI models will dominate future profit. This strategic divergence shows how uncertain markets feel. Uncertainty becomes amplified when major leaders disagree publicly. Meanwhile, the infrastructure arms race intensifies further. Data center construction expands faster than historic averages. Chip purchases exceed normal enterprise budgeting limits. Energy requirements exceed entire city consumption levels. Power grids struggle under emerging industrial stress. This tension highlights fundamental physical limitations everywhere. Power scarcity becomes a massive hidden threat. Some companies cannot activate GPUs they purchased. Electricity shortages leave millions of dollars unused. This scenario shocks analysts observing operational efficiency. No industry has faced such constraints previously. AI pushes humanity toward its energy boundaries quickly. Yet despite these bottlenecks, demand never slows. Models keep improving at astonishing yearly rates. People rely on them more every single day. Workflows transform under constant algorithmic assistance globally. The technology becomes addictive once intensely integrated. This creates unstoppable momentum behind worldwide adoption. But high adoption does not guarantee stability. Markets can misunderstand technical value easily still. People often confuse potential with guaranteed profitability. Expectations rise faster than meaningful implementation sometimes. This creates friction between fantasy and economic reality. That friction eventually decides whether bubbles survive. Still, the industry's progress remains undeniably breathtaking. AI already reshaped consumer behavior across countless sectors. Education, medicine, finance, every field feels transformation building. Companies deploy automation to accelerate decision-making reliability. Individuals use assistants for deeply personal tasks. The shift feels cultural, psychological, and irreversible. Even skeptics admit AI's impact is monumental. Their concerns revolve around timing, not technology. They fear infrastructure arrives too early globally. They worry returns won't match unprecedented investment growth.
They believe misalignment could trigger economic correction, but they also acknowledge eventual massive long-term payoff. These conflicting perspectives create global strategic tension. Some regions prepare expansion with aggressive investment plans. Others step cautiously due to historical financial trauma. Everyone tries predicting the next phase accurately now, yet prediction becomes nearly impossible during exponential revolutions. And artificial intelligence is precisely that revolution today. The world stands balanced on a critical tipping point. A future defined by intelligence-driven transformation awaits. But whether this surge becomes stable evolution or becomes history's largest technological bubble burst depends on the next choices companies make. And those choices grow heavier with every passing month. The final question now dominates global conversations. Is this extraordinary acceleration truly sustainable long-term? Or are we witnessing early signs of fragility? These concerns grow louder with every new headline. Everyone senses a turning point arriving very soon, and that turning point could reshape everything permanently.
The infrastructure build-out continues at record speed. Companies invest billions despite rising market volatility. They gamble on intelligence becoming essential global infrastructure. This gamble defines the future of entire industries. But colossal gambles often carry colossal consequences too. Consequences emerge when timelines fail to match expectations. Energy limitations reveal growing structural weaknesses worldwide. Power grids cannot sustain exponential computational demand. Massive GPU clusters sit inactive, awaiting electricity. This scenario would seem impossible just years ago. Now it represents a core industry challenge, a challenge capable of slowing global AI adoption. Governments begin addressing these issues carefully now. They announce new plans for power expansion. Nuclear development accelerates in multiple major regions. Renewable scaling receives unprecedented federal funding commitments. This demonstrates how deeply AI reshapes national priorities. Entire nations pivot to meet intelligence-driven requirements. Still, financial uncertainty grows behind the scenes. Some economists warn valuations appear dangerously stretched. They highlight historical parallels with previous market bubbles. Others counter with arguments grounded in consumer demand. They insist usage proves undeniable real-world value. This clash fuels debates across the entire world. Meanwhile, corporate strategies shift in unexpected ways. Some leaders hedge aggressively against potential downturns. They diversify away from high-cost hardware commitments. Others double down on long-term automation futures. They believe AI will replace outdated business models. This divergence shows how uncertain decision-making truly is. Yet, despite uncertainty, innovation doesn't slow down. New models surpass predecessor capabilities astonishingly quickly. Each release compresses technological cycles even further. This speed is historically unprecedented and deeply disruptive. Humanity rarely experiences revolutions this rapidly accelerating. Acceleration brings opportunity, but also unpredictable instability. Workers also feel pressure growing around them. AI changes job roles at incredible speed. Productivity rises, but workforce anxiety rises likewise. People fear being replaced by intelligent automation. These fears influence public opinion on technological progress. Public opinion eventually influences political and regulatory outcomes. Regulators now scramble to catch up globally. They attempt balancing innovation with public protection. They fear rapid adoption might outpace societal readiness. They fear concentration of power among few corporations. This fear influences potential intervention and future oversight. Oversight may slow momentum or stabilize long-term. Still, one truth becomes undeniably clear today. Artificial intelligence is not slowing anytime soon. Demand continues rising despite economic contradictions everywhere. Value continues proving itself in real use cases. People continue integrating AI into everyday life. Momentum this strong rarely disappears without enormous force. So are we witnessing a bubble forming or a foundational shift similar to electricity? Is this speculative exuberance or predictable transformation? Is the growth justified or dangerously inflated? These questions no longer feel simple theoretical debates. They define the future of global technological advancement. Some analysts believe this is infrastructure misalignment. They think investment outpaces real implementation temporarily. But temporary misalignment does not equal long-term collapse. Sometimes the world builds before society is ready. Sometimes readiness arrives after infrastructure is complete. History shows this pattern repeatedly across major revolutions. Others argue we face unprecedented economic risk. They believe valuations have drifted beyond rational limits. They argue corrections may arrive sooner than expected. Such corrections could reshape industries for decades. Their caution stems from patterns observed in past collapses. Patterns that always appear obvious only in hindsight. But the final conclusion depends on belief itself. Do we believe artificial intelligence transforms humanity fundamentally? Do we believe its value compounds exponentially forever? Do we believe current adoption represents early beginnings? If yes, then infrastructure spending makes complete sense. If not, then markets might face historic consequences. The world stands at a monumental inflection point now. The choices made today echo far into future. And whether this era becomes extraordinary triumph or becomes the next cautionary financial disaster will be decided by how humanity manages intelligence. Because this revolution isn't stopping for anyone anymore.